Welcome back, fans of the Stop Motion Cup Series. Today will be the 6th race of the season at Kentucky Motor Speedway. This relatively new 1.5 mile track has been hosting multiple races in the Cup Series. And now, with 3 races left before the playoffs start, we will be making our debut at Kentucky here today. 43 cars are in the field today. As you can see, it'll be a good race. Here are your ones to watch. Martin Truex Jr. is your pole sitter. Hasn't done a tremendous amount this year, but he has been consistent. Meanwhile, Kyle Larson is currently tied for the last playoff spot with Joey Logano. 3 races left. They will have to do a whole lot to improve their chances of making it. And Brad Keselowski was last week's winner at Dover. Here we go now, the engines have been fired. And here is the starting lineup for today's race. Row 1, we have Martin Truex Jr. and Kyle Larson. Row 2, Kasey Kahne and Kevin Harvick. Row 3, Jeff Gordon, Kurt Busch. Row 4, Denny Hamlin, Ryan Blaney. Row 5, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Brad Keselowski. Row 6, Carl Edwards, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Row 7, Tony Stewart and Cole Witt. Row 8, Danica Patrick and David Reagan. Row 9, AJ Allmendinger and Austin Dillon. Row 10, Greg Biffle and Justin Allgaier. Row 11, Brett Moffitt and Jimmy Johnson. Row 12, David Gilliland and Matt Kenseth. Row 13, Joey Logano and Jamie McMurray. Row 14, Kyle Busch and Sam Hornish Jr. Row 15, Trevor Bayne and Regan Smith. Row 16, J.J. Yaley and Clint Bowyer. Row 17, Jeb Burton and Matt DiBenedetto. Row 18, Eric Almirola and Ty Dillon. Row 19, the RCR teammates of Paul Menard and Ryan Newman. Row 20, Casey Mears and Landon Castle. Row 21, Michael McDowell and Bobby Labonte. And in last place, starting 43rd, Michael Annett. And now our keys to today's race. 14 laps in length, 3 races until the playoffs. And there has been a heat advisory in the area recently. Will that affect the drivers? Let's find out as the green flag is out and we are underway at Kentucky. Still too wide going onto the backstretch. So we see Martin Truex Jr. is finally able to establish a firm lead. Kevin Harvick is stuck in the middle, but he manages to get clear of Kasey Kahne. Kevin Harvick has just been absolutely firing it off the gun here. We see now Kevin Harvick will be trying to get past Martin Truex Jr. No. Martin Truex Jr. leads lap 2. And he throws a block on Harvick going into the corner. Larson gets a run going back onto the back stretch as we now see the field. Too wide now for the lead as they go down the front stretch. And Kevin Harvick will lead the lap. You see now he's trying to get off to a faraway lead. Looks like Kurt Busch has also been driving up from the farther back in the field. Still 3 wide even now on lap 5. This is absolutely crazy. And we see now Dale Jr. gets loose. Oof! Gets spun by Keselowski. Goes into Hamlin hard into the wall. The caution is out. So we see now one driver who's already locked himself into the playoffs and one driver who had a rough start to the season and could not afford to start losing points. And Keselowski, last week's winner, is going to be very grateful he got that win last week. So we see Dale Jr. got a little bit of a bump there from Keselowski. Got sent back into Keselowski, who then spun him. Nowhere Keselowski could go, though, for that second part of the incident. Especially nowhere for Denny Hamlin to go. Wrong place, wrong time for Hamlin. So we see now Earnhardt and Hamlin will be taken off the track. Both drivers are okay after that incident, as it appears that Brad Keselowski will try and attempt the rest of the race in his somewhat damaged car. Once again, time for our first choose rule of the day. So we see Kevin Harvick taking what is usually the preferred line here on the restart. Once again, after that caution, we are ready to get back going again. Green flag is out once more. And once again, already off the start of the restart, Danica Patrick has gone around. Caution is out. Barely but half a lap into the resumption of the race. Here's the replay of that incident. Looks like she'd gotten somewhat into the middle lane, tried to cut back to the inside, but Paul Menard was already there. Looks like she went a little bit airborne there after she hit a rough patch of grass. That'll be the end of her night. The front end of her car is going to be absolutely mangled. So you see, as presumed, she is now out of the race, joining Earnhardt and Hamlin. Once more, seems like we just did this. Lane selection happens once again. Most of the drivers take the exact same lane they did the last time around, although it looks like we have some strategy further back in the field. And now, here is this week's sponsor, RC Studios. Link to his channel in the description. Alright, let's see if we can get this restart to last more than a few seconds. Here we go once more, green flag again. By the way, if you didn't notice, we have a new leaderboard graphic on the bottom of the screen. We come on now to 4 to go in the race. Martin Truex Jr. is going to be trying to make a charge on Kevin Harvick. Going to try to get his lead back. So far, nobody has been able to take that back from Kevin Harvick. So we see Tony Stewart now, starting from outside the top 10, has managed to work his way up into the top 3. And very well, could be looking at a way to steal this win away from his teammate and driver at Stewart House Racing, Kevin Harvick. We see now Matt DiBenedetto has blown an engine on the front stretch. That is going to bring the caution out once more, interrupting what was a great battle between Tony Stewart and Kevin Harvick. We don't really know what exactly caused this engine to blow. Reports from the team are that the water temperatures got a little high, but for the most part this was unexpected. So we see now 4 cars are now out of the race. This will set us up for the first overtime of the year. As we see, potentially once more, the drivers will choose their lanes. This could be very important to how this race ends. We see Kevin Harvick taking the inside line. It's going to be hard for him to get past if he's taking that. Here are the race highlights for today. So you see on lap 1, Martin Truex Jr. took the lead. Took the green, rather. Lap 6, after a long green flag run, actually, Dale Jr. just got spun by Brad Keselowski into Hamlin. Lap 8, Danica Patrick on the restart, barely crossing the start and finish line, managed to get into the grass, destroy the front of her car. And Matt DiBenedetto, just now on lap 12, blew his engine. As aforementioned, for the first time this season we head into overtime. Green flag is out at Kentucky once more. And it looks like Tony Stewart is going to try a crossover move on Kevin Harvick. Tony Stewart is going to have the inside line going into the corner. Tony Stewart is going to lead the lap and could potentially steal this race from Kevin Harvick. We see now into turns 1 and 2 for one final time. Tony Stewart tries to block Kevin Harvick. Kevin Harvick gets to the inside. It's going to be a drag race to the finish. And it's Kevin Harvick, your winner at Kentucky. And what was almost a photo finish. What an exciting finish that was, as we see Kevin Harvick managing to enjoy that hard win, hard-earned burnout. So you see now a replay of the final lap. So you see Tony Stewart had the lead going down into the backstretch, but Kevin Harvick basically did what Tony Stewart did to him one lap before. So they were side by side going into the corner. Kevin Harvick just had a little more momentum. He managed to maintain that lead he had most of the race. Or regain it, rather. We see now here is your finishing results. Notable finishers are your top 10. And here we go. Amanda Benedetto, Danica Patrick, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and Denny Hamlin are your 4 DNS for today's race. Here are the point standings. Kevin Harvick, Carl Edwards, Greg Biffle, Brad Keselowski, Denny Hamlin, and Ryan Newman are your winners so far this season, as we have a 3-way tie right now for the final playoff spot. Austin Dillon, Casey Kane, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. all have 162 points. With only 2 races left in the season, it's going to be a fight to the finish for anybody who has not locked themselves into the playoffs at this point. So we see, as usual, the part-time drivers Reagan Smith and Alex Bowman close out our point standings. Congratulations to Kevin Harvick and his sponsors for winning today's race. Our next race will be at Watkins Glen, our first road course race of the season. Hope you guys all enjoyed today's race. If you did, do me a favor. Leave a like to this channel, comment about how much you enjoyed it, subscribe, have a great day.